Welcome to the Blairstown Township Committee meeting for February 28th, 2024. Can we have an opening roll call, please, Kristen?
Mrs. Lance? Here. Mr. Loman?
Here.
Mr. McAtora?
Here.
Mr. Workcott?
Here.
Mayor Moorhead?
Here. Can you all please rise for the salute to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this public meeting through a legal notice published in the New Jersey Herald and/or the Express Times following the Township's annual reorganization meeting in which the 2024 meeting schedule was adopted. Good evening, everyone. Nice to have a good-looking crowd tonight. All right, maybe a crowd. Can't speak for all of you, but we want to start off the evening. We have Frankfurt Mayor David Silverthorne. I'd love for you to bring up our guest and introduce him and tell us why you guys are here tonight.
I'm going to take a chair, okay?
Take a chair, please.
All right.
We got those from Olive Garden. Roll around nicely.
Well, let me introduce myself then. I am Peter Lamers. I'm the judge of your court. As you know, or as you may know, I was appointed in January last year to be the judge in Frankfurt. And of course, Blairstown was part of that. So that's what I've been doing for you since January of last year.
Very good.
And I do have some good things to say about the police department, even though they keep me up at night sometimes at 1 o'clock in the morning for warrants or temporary restraining orders. You know, they have come when we need them to testify. So I don't have any complaints as to your police department.
Well, if you have any complaints about us, you get them out now.
Well, I have a couple.
It's like, I have your agreement here I have to sign tonight.
I'm being facetious. No, I really don't have any complaints. It's, you know, it works pretty well. I don't know if you guys know, but generally the fourth Thursday of each month is when Blairstown cases are before us, all right? The first two sessions, the second and third Thursday, would be Frankfurt only, and then the fourth would be Blairstown. And we take all the first appearances, drunk driving, assaults, zoning cases. You might have gotten some significant monies out of some of your zoning cases. So, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any of them.
No, in talking to the police chief, Judge, they're very happy with the service they've been receiving.
Oh, good. I'm happy to hear that.
Very
That's
happy.
good. I'm glad to hear that.
We had an issue with one of our other towns, and the judge and I went over there to kind of smooth things over and talk to them a little bit. And we had gotten such a good response from that town that they're like pretty spy now that we said, you know, maybe we'll come over here and see Blairstown too. Especially since, although you're joint with us and we're shared with us, and we're joint with
Right.
them. So
I don't think anybody ever came to you guys from
No.
Frankfurt.
No.
So I thought it was a nice gesture, and I think you deserve it, actually.
We're all the mics on? My mic is up. Yeah, we're all on.
Oh my God.
Should I repeat everything I said?
No, sorry.
Just talking formally.
Well, Frankfurt was an emergency stand-in, if you recall,
Yeah.
and we actually had to get, it's a little bit unique for me because, you know, we had to get two vicinages involved. It's not uncommon to have multi-units, but it was really nice that you guys were there for Blairstown and Needham. And I think the biggest concern was for our police department going up there, but I think that's worked out very well. And actually, Peter and I were talking off the record before the meeting started, and Peter used to cover meetings in Blairstown for my father many years ago.
Yeah. And Kevin took my job in Frankfurt, by the way, township attorney.
Well, I had the opportunity, I was up there a couple of months ago.
There we go.
I was up there a couple of months ago to see the collector, who happens to be related closely to my committee woman there. But I got to talk to the judge for a little bit and see him in action, and everybody has everything good to say about our whole venture up there at Frankfurt Municipal Court. I've been up for a couple of meetings myself back in the day.
I spent a good amount of time in court, and I
Yeah.
popped in there, and I talked to the women in the court office, and the objective is to keep costs reasonable. We don't think that, of course, not obviously supposed to make money, but it shouldn't lose money either, and all the talk on the county level with going to some sort of county joint court, I think it's good for us to keep our group together as best we can and stay, because once it goes to the county level, it's not gonna go, the prices are not gonna go down, they're gonna go up, regardless of what they're telling us, so.
I want to say something, maybe you don't want to hear this, Dave, but we're not supposed to think about the cost
I know.
of the courts, it's,
We do though.
Yeah.
I know, we're not supposed to, we're supposed to just do what's
That's why we don't elect
appropriate.
judges in the state.
Yeah, Fanny.
So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer any.
So we're the only town with a police department of all the towns that are in the joint court, right?
Yes, correct. I was appointed in May to be also the judge in Vernon. The judge who was there, unfortunately, fortunate for me, but unfortunate for him, acted a little bit ridiculous, so he was suspended. So I took over there, and then I was appointed full-time in January. So.
Okay.
But they also have police department.
Yeah.
Something that you mentioned before, what is the difference between having a joint court and what was the other?
Share.
Share.
Yeah.
Well, the joint court would be, we have 5 municipalities. We have Frankfurt, Lafayette, Sanderson, Montague, and Walpack, okay? And that's a joint. They all joined one court, they joined us. Shared court is, we are basically took over the responsibility for Blairstown. It's only one court.
And so, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
As I said, Karen, so we maintain our own summons books. Everything is, we share expenses, but everything else is separate. In the joint court, and also in the shared court, we still retain jurisdiction to make our own judicial appointments, at the judge position in particular.
I see.
In the joint court, all those municipalities operate under one umbrella name. All the summonses issued are uniform. Peter's position as the judge is actually, well, we technically nominate, but ultimately is approved by the governor, actually.
Correct.
So it's a completely different animal, really. In fact, our contract is actually with the joint court because they are really collectively one indivisible entity. So it's really just two entities, Blairstown and the joint court, because the other municipalities all are under that umbrella. But it works very smoothly.
And there's also, the shared court has only one budget. I put a minister that prepares the budget for the shared court. The joint court is one budget for all of the municipalities. So that's another difference that exists.
How do you handle the volume from Walpack? It must be...
You know what, it's like 5 people. They're really rough.
But if all of the other towns are state police and ours is just Blairstown.
Everything is state police, yeah,
So
correct.
then, so.
Yeah, and that's the difficult part. State police, the discovery from the state police is much different than from coming from here. Here, we have there's a person here in the court system that provides us with the discovery. In Frankfurt, we have to actually get it on the Trenton to discover it. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Okay. And the prosecutor who's doing it right now spends a ton of time trying to obtain the discovery. And then the state police they don't show up sometimes. They forget to come, or they don't want to be there. They don't get. Some of the former state police here. No, it's true though. They really, some of them just don't show up.
Be careful how.
And there used to be a thought of notifying the station commander, but we don't do that. It's because you don't know what happened really. You were state police?
Yeah, I spent about 3.5 years or so.
Well, you would never have done that.
So, I was up there and, oh my God. I'm trying to think, who was the other, Fran Ryer?
Fran Raya, oh my God.
That's a really long time ago.
She had an office out of her home.
Yeah. 2 o'clock in the
That
morning.
was, yeah, it's no fun, yeah, that's Fran, she died, by the way.
Yeah. She was a nice lady.
Yeah, she was tough.
Yeah.
If she liked you, you're okay. If she didn't like you,
Yeah.
you could die in front of her.
Time.
That's true.
David, she's talking about all nice improvements, the physical facility just got improved.
Yep.
Paint's all done,
Yeah.
yeah. Good.
It's not as nice as this room, but
It's close.
And we had this in mind, when they built this building, we had this in mind to be
Yeah.
affordable.
beautiful.
But then the state came in next door and they have their construction office there, so we couldn't be a court if we wanted to. Not that we want to at all.
But we love having you, so, we're gonna do the best.
I was skeptical, when I was on the committee 4 years ago, I was skeptical going, Frankfurt, really? But I'll tell you what, being on the committee for 3 years, I have not heard one complaint about the court being in Frankfurt, not one. So it works out very well. It's a good system. So I'm glad to be a part of it.
Try to keep it going.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the nice comments.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank
Thank you, Mayor. Hopefully it's, we don't go another 20-something years before we see each other again.
Very good to see you.
No, we should do this more often, we really should.
Well,
I didn't know it. So,
Absolutely.
take care, man. Be good. Nice to meet you.
Take care.
Hope to not see you soon.
That's right.
Yeah, right. Okay.
All right, on to the exciting part of the evening. Our engineer, Dennis Keenan, has our stormwater update. We've gone through a lot of this in our subcommittee meeting, and you have an outline of what we have in store for us for the upcoming year, and what we have to do to be compliant with our new stormwater regulations.
Yes. So I'll just walk you through briefly kind of what is in front of us is every year we basically have a running permit with the state of New Jersey called our MS4 permit. And basically that allows us to discharge water to state local waters. Allows us to have a stormwater system that then just discharges into the streams. Every municipality needs to have a permit, it needs to have a valid permit, and it's regulated at the state level. It even comes down from the federal level from the EPA. So the way we've been moving forward, they always had 2 tiers. We were always tier B for a very long time. And just as of a year ago, they got rid of tier Bs, and now everybody's a tier A. So they used to have 2 different categories. We had a lot less work to do as a municipality to comply with the tier B requirements. Now, since that's gone, we've been elevated to a tier A. And in some instances, we're just behind the 8 ball because a lot of the things that now we have to start complying with, these other municipalities have been doing and progressing towards for years. So now there are things that we need to start implementing that we haven't done before, and put them together to kind of outline some things that I think we would need to do this next year. When DEP put out these regulations, I came here about a year ago and just got to give an overview of what they were, heads up that this is coming and we're going to have to deal with it. At the time, I don't think we actually knew how much money they were going to provide to help support the municipalities. They did come out and gave us $75,000. We have a portion of that we already have, and we have the other portion is going to be coming shortly. They gave all the other municipalities that were over in tier A's $25,000, but the municipalities that were tier B's, moving up to tier A's, got $75,000, acknowledging the fact that we were a little bit behind and had some catching up. So what I did is I outlined some of the work that I think we need to start moving on now. And I can just walk through those things. This is what I'm intending to move forward with. This was passed around? Yeah. All right, okay, great. So the first item, and really the immediate concern with it, over the course of this next year, we need to be able to produce a stormwater mapping for the township. That is mapping every storm inlet, mapping all the storm pipes, detention basins, everything in the municipality. We have to create a GIS map that then has to be shipped down to the DEP to update to their database. Every tier A has been working towards this. They have some semblance, even if it's not great, they have something. At this point, we have nothing, so we're working from scratch. So So that's the first item that we need to get moving on. The second item is the municipal stormwater management plan. That's a plan that we really put together back in 2004 or so, which actually I think I prepared for Ted Robbins back in 2004. We worked with him on that. That needs to be updated. It's supposed to be updated once every 10 years. So we're outdated on that. They're now making sure that gets updated. We also have local public outreach, which is something we have been doing since we were Tier B. It was always required, but we need to go through and make sure we have a point system. We've modified the point system, and that is a point system to notify the public of stormwater management in the municipality, things that they should do to comply with stormwater management, like how to have your dog waste, how to wash your car, things like that, and inform the public. It's an education program that they have every municipality do. So we work with township staff to make sure that gets implemented and information gets distributed to residents in the town, maybe through tax mailers or things like that. We also have stormwater control ordinance, which we actually need to implement. They've been updating stormwater control ordinances, it seems like once a year, and every time they do, they tell us we need to update our own ordinance. So we have a new ordinance that needs to be updated by July, which is we'll work with township attorney to get that taken care of. Inspection and maintenance of private stormwater facilities, they're actually requiring the municipality to reach out to owners of stormwater management facilities, meaning a private entity, property owner that has a detention basin on their property, usually it's a business in town that probably been developed in the past, 20 years. They probably have a detention basin on their property. They should be maintaining it. They're requiring us as a municipality to contact those individuals and owners and tell them you need to be maintaining your detention basin, stormwater facilities, and you need to notify us that you're doing it. So we'll work through trying to figure out who has detention basins in the town, and then we'll prepare some notifications to those property owners to make sure we'll work with the township staff to make sure that gets distributed to those individuals. Annual employee training, we provide some training to the township staff to apply again for the MS4 permit. Inspection and maintenance mapping, that's really, we take the stormwater mapping that we prepared above, and then we start drilling down and saying, okay, now that we understand the stormwater mapping that's in the town, now we have to go through and identify, there's roads that need to be swept, there's inlets that need to be cleaned, and then set up a program for cleaning them and work with Eric from the DPW to make sure he understands what needs to be done. And then he actually has a physical map to say, this is what I'm doing in my program. And they're requiring us to have that. And then the other item I put in there is a little bit, it's not really MS4, but it kind of fits into what we do it, is the flood permit ordinance, and that is the flood ordinance that we ended up adopting, or we're forced to adopt through FEMA to stay compliant with the flood insurance program. They require us to adopt an updated ordinance that stipulates that we have a flood permit in town. Right now, we don't have a flood permit. So we have the ordinance that FEMA requires us to have, we just don't have a permit in place. And that's a permit that basically is required for anybody who's developing in a floodplain, that there's a permit they must get from the municipality. We just verify they're compliant with regulations.
Dennis, I actually did one of those for Wayne Ingram at your office, who I work with in Pohat, so I'll circulate that to you. Wayne approved it. I tried to keep it, Wayne and I found several samples of permits done elsewhere, and we tried to keep it as practical as possible. I'll send that to you, make sure you're okay with it.
Yeah, I talked to Wayne about that.
And then we'll get it up to these guys in the copy. We're just going to adopt that by resolution because the permit is actually already referenced in the ordinance, as Dennis said. You just have to physically have it. So I'll get that to you.
Okay.
Well, we can just save us money.
There we go. Take that one off the list.
Yeah, there we go.
Much easier.
Well, you can use that for the mapping, because that's.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do we have any idea how many inlets and outflows? we have?
Eric was estimating 800.
And is that just township owned, or is that,
That's
they want to know everything?
Now, all we have to worry about are the township-owned buildings. County-owned, state-owned, anything in the 94s, we don't have to worry about. Any of the county roads, we don't have to worry about. Any on private property, the inlets and the shopping centers, we don't have to worry about those.
Okay. And I saw something in here about shared as it's going into another municipality. Is that part of the list also?
Yes, yes, and when we have a connection point with another municipality, generally what we're doing is just saying it's coming through there. DEP would like us to go through and map in the other municipalities, so then we understand what's draining
Right.
to our town, but that's not required.
Okay.
That's a higher number than I would have guessed.
Yeah,
Too.
whether that's right.
Well, you would know better than anybody
Yeah.
up here.
For no other reason, it's a good exercise. I don't know what the hell we have.
Yes, yeah, it will be helpful. And part of the idea in having the mapping is you look in the stream and there's some contamination, we're seeing oil from the slick that's coming from, a head wall. Okay, well, where does that go?
Figure out.
Got a map. We know where it goes. We don't have to guess. So it will have a purpose. It will be useful. And I think the GIS platform that our GIS guys put together, it can be very useful. We've actually used it in other towns where you can have your iPhone and the DPW staff can stand over a structure and say, okay, I'm standing over the structure and I'm cleaning it out. I took out this much material and enter all this information. And then it feeds it back to us. So when we have to do the permit at the end of the year, it's all there.
Yep.
So in the concept, it works a lot better than reality. Because you have to use it.
Yeah.
There's an app for that.
Yes, there is an apple. So that's really, I just wanted to go over that, make sure everybody was on board and have blessing to move forward.
And the good news is the grant that they awarded us will cover the engineering fees, the initial engineering fees for this year at least. So that's good news.
Yes, because we do list in there the watershed inventory mapping that is required for next year. I'm saying let's table that until next year because it's a little bit of an unknown entity. No one's had to put this together before. So I'm hoping to get some guidance over the course of next year what that really is.
Right.
But we need to plan the fact that, we're going to do this year, and some of this gets repeated every year, and next year we're going to have another. And that's a phase one watershed analysis. And then there's a phase two.
So after 3 years, we should be able to vote up.
After 3 years, yes. But then Norm does something.
And then they'll change.
It's taxing on us. There's money involved, but really if you look at the whole thing in its entirety, it's a great thing. I mean, we have probably one of the most beautiful parts of the state. We should be responsible for what water goes into. A lot of people drink the water that comes from up north of us, and so it's not a bad thing. It's just the way they did it and said, here, you're going to have to do all this right now. I think the phasing should have been a little more protracted, but we should all be as concerned with our water supplies as some. The state does a pretty good job with that. So. All right, any other questions for Dennis?
Just a quick comment for Dennis, about Dennis. Dennis was in an hour early, met with the mayor and I on a subcommittee about roads. And as some of you, actually, most everybody up here knows, Dennis represents the land use board too as our engineers, and does a great job for us all around, not only for the town, but for the land use board. So the continuity there has been really helpful, and I know you have a good working relationship with Eric Usinowitz, our road supervisor, so it's all a good relationship. Thanks, Dennis, for all your work.
Thank you, Dennis. And if you need your parking validated, see our place.
I need water.
Okay.
Take care, Dennis.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we will open up our public comment section of the meeting tonight. Does anyone have any public comment to add? I see faces that I haven't seen before. She beat you to it. Come on up, and you guys will be next.
Run. All right.
Give us your name and address.
Sure. My name's Geraldine Cole. My address is 151 Solar Road. I'm the president of North Warren Midget Football Program, and here tonight to express my support and explain the extreme need in updating items at the Walnut Valley Field, such as the septic and other plumbing items associated with it. I call Walnut Valley the heart of our town. Walnut Valley is home to North Warren Midget Football, North Warren Youth Cheer, North Warren Little League, and even a little firehouse. I'm here to advocate for all of our families and, of course, all of those groups. We see hundreds of kids and thousands of people there throughout the year. In addition to that, you can always bet that you will hear any adult in the area say what fond memories they have playing down there. Football season is the heaviest crowd. On a typical Saturday night, we host about 2,000 people, but that number can vary. Sometimes we have well over that. I know baseball has had record numbers as well in recent years. While I can't give you numbers for them, I can assure you that they have plenty. Let's keep in mind, on the football end, that's roughly 800 kids playing outside instead of on a video game on any Saturday evening. As you all know, since there has been a parking issue, we came and spoke last year about doing some much-needed upgrades that our groups were able to fund. The grass looked fantastic, the dugouts were updated, and the concession had a makeover, and the excitement amongst the families and even the town people that came just down to grab something to eat was incredible. But then there's the bathrooms and the plumbing issues we have inside the concession stand. With that being said, there are improvements at the field that are in desperate need. Our septic is in dire need of repair or replacement. We currently use up to 3 porta-johns in addition to attempting to use the bathrooms in the stand, and the smell is absolutely atrocious from those porta-johns. For a family setting, porta-johns are not a great option, especially if it's the only restroom, which happens often throughout our day. They're great on construction sites, but not so great when you have kids or an infant. We typically start the day with the bathrooms open. By the end of the second game, we need to close them due to the bathroom issues. This can be not flushing, constant flushing, backing up, nonstop running urinals or toilets, etc. It creates a mess, so we do have to lock it. We absolutely hate to lock the bathrooms because there's nothing worse as a mom to bring your little kid or even your infant into a porta-john, especially heavy into those days, especially in the dark. We have tried to put small lights in, which have been stolen or thrown into the porta-john tank itself. By the third game, the smell from the porta-johns are so unbearable, you could smell them by the concession stand, and by the end of the evening, you could smell them all the way out to the field, and they are absolutely beyond capacity. We have moved them to different locations to try to avoid this, but it's so rancid, by the end of the night, there is no hope. We purchased toilet paper and cleaning supplies to help keep up, and it's just not enough. The porta-johns are not an ideal situation because unfortunately, we have seen an uptick in issues at the field. We have had vandalism and we've had the porta-johns knocked over or rocked, creating quite a mess inside. Thankfully, I work with an awesome crew of strong guys that have had the unfortunate job to do all of that heavy lifting. We also have to use bottled water that we bring in because the sink will also not drain if we let the bathrooms go too long. A huge thank you and shout out to the road department guys who have had to help me with that issue until we found a way to avoid it. Right now, we do not use the sink in the concession stand for any type of dumping. For example, if I have to make something where I boil water, I have to carry the pot out to another holding pot that we dump later, and when it's not hot, I can transport it to my home to dispose of it. I try to avoid this at all costs. Doing the dishes at the end of the night is an absolute nightmare, and the concession is a massive part of our program, so we try to make do, but these issues aren't going away. The remedy is extremely overdue. We cannot function if we do not have that concession stand. We've had a huge jump in numbers in just the past 2 years, and I truly believe it's because the parents love to see the pride that we have in our program. While the outside is hands down gorgeous, and you'll hear me say all the time, it's the world famous concession stand because our kids are our world. We have to keep making sure our facilities are clean, and most importantly, they're sanitary for all the kids and families. If you look at a restroom versus a porta-john in sanitary terms, hands down, there's no contest. We need sanitary bathrooms down there. We do go to 8 other fields throughout the season, and they all have super clean restrooms with running water, lights, etc. So my hope is that we can get this updated so our programs in town can continue to thrive. I will end it with this. The most important thing in this world are our children. They get so much out of these sports programs, no matter what sport it is in this town. I urge you to continue to put your support and your money into the kids. They are the future, and we are raising an awesome generation in our small town, so we hope that we can continue to show them how the town backs them and their growth. Thank you for your support and opportunity to explain how desperately we need those bathrooms down there.
Sounds like you need back.
I can practically smell it from your
Right?
description.
Exactly. You gotta come down, but come down early for a flag game. Don't come later.
Well, as you may or may not know, this has been the subject of discussion for a better part of a week now. Deputy Mayor Orcutt, you want to?
Do we want to do this now or do it within the meeting?
Doesn't really matter. We can discuss it now if you want. Do you have anywhere to go? All right. Yeah, we have a couple other public comments. We're going to circle back. to
Good,
that.
we'll circle back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're-
no problem.
It's going to be, it'll be a fair amount.
It's certainly on the agenda, whether you see it or not, we're going to talk about that.
All right, perfect.
All right, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Other public comments? You had your hand up. Come on. All right, just saying, best hair in the house. You're making a lot of guys here very jealous that they can't have hair like that anymore.
Are we allowed to come up here because I have something?
Sure.
One for you, one for you, and one for you. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
All right, name and address.
name and address.
Yeah, just make it legal.
My name is Jamie Shanley. I live at 22 Glen Road, Blairstown, New Jersey.
Cool.
I'm the president of Out of Our Shells 4-H, and me and our club have been thinking about setting up a mini pantry outside of First Presbyterian Church. Now, if you look at the images that are in there, you can see where we wanted to set it up, and just the general location of it.
Thank you.
So we're talking about more of it's a cabinet, right? It's a cabinet with a closed door. Okay.
So what we're looking to do is to enhance the experience at the food pantry. We've been volunteering our time for the past 5 years. The kids will collect donations, we stock the shelves, and we prep and bake for the patrons that come in on Saturday. So we're there every third Friday of the month. What we want to do is have this cabinet installed in front of the outreach so that it's for everybody, it's 24/7, it's for anybody that needs, a kid walking home from school and is thirsty, needs a bottle of water, a mother that forgot an onion, to come home cooking dinner. It's going to be organically restocked. It's all going to be based on donations, and we are going to be on quality control, making sure nothing is open, there's no dangerous items. Each child in Out of Our Shells 4-H will take a week responsibility of stocking, quality control, and just making sure that the pantry is up to date and good. We went already to the zone and building board.
Oh, that's-
They already approved it, the First Presbyterian Church already approved it. They told us to come to you guys, and if you guys say it's okay, it's a go.
Well, you did your homework.
We did.
Any questions?
So there's a pretty good overhang there too, right?
Right, exactly, for the
And
weather,
I
the
suppose
snow,
it's
the
right,
rain.
the reason you have a picture of the door, it's going to be right next to the door.
Exactly. And I already have somebody that's willing to install it for free, attach it to the building.
Okay. Yeah,
Any
I-
action? We just,
Make a motion, just put it.
yeah, make a motion. Make a motion to approve this idea, just with the only caveat, keeping in mind, 2 years down the road, if it gets in rough shape or something,
yeah,
it's going,
yeah.
the cabinet's going to be, it's going to
We
maintain
did
the.
add on to there that when they outgrow the 4-H group, the First Presbyterian Church is going to overtake the cabinet.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's perfect.
that's a good thing for them. too.
I'll make that motion, and we heartily support this project.
I'll second it. We have an all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? There you go.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing that for the community.
Yeah, it's an
Thank you.
awesome thing. Thank you. All right, any other public? Come on up. Your entourage is growing as each month goes by. Add another.
Okay, I'm Chuck Walsh, as you know. 34 Centerville Road, Columbia, Norton. I brought these two gentlemen with me.
Yeah, we're not paving your end of the road, Chuck. Only the Blairstown
We
end.
could use it though.
Hank Akers, I live at 21 Walnut Valley Road in Blairstown Township.
Hi, I'm Joey Picaro, I'm from 10 Scenic Hills Drive in Blairstown.
Now, the reason why we're here,
As you know, of course, the committee kindly adopted a resolution of support for Blairstown service, Amtrak service, on the 18th of January. Now, the reason why we're here, unbeknownst to us, on the 12th of January, Congressman Gottheimer wrote a letter, which we found out about in the press, the Herald on the 26th of January, basically promoting the Andover station site for Amtrak on the Lackawanna for Scranton service. Knowing some of the back history with the folks in Andover, I've been up there a few times over the years. The intent, in my opinion, is not to just add on, but to replace if they could. The letter from Congressman Gottheimer went to the president of Amtrak, Mr. Gardner, the governor, Mr. Murphy, has New Jersey Transit, and a few others, and of course the press. We haven't seen a copy of the letter. I don't know if the Oprah.
I've called 4 times their office. I haven't gotten it.
Okay. So we don't know exactly what's, of course, in the letter other than what was reported in the press. At this point, I don't know that nothing's been done and we have not heard anything, so I guess that's known as good news, but we want to stay on top of this. And we've actually also working on other townships in the area to get resolutions of support as well. But that's a relatively slow process. But the thing is, just to keep you in the loop, that we're still looking into this. But at this point, I don't really know what to say other than that's what we know at this point.
Okay.
But of course, I talked to Karen and I also spoke to you, Mr. Mayor, about this, and I guess the strategy was to see what we could find out, but since we don't have the letter, we really don't
I
know.
can keep trying. I've called and they called me back, I've called them back. No one answers that, no one's on there anymore.
So the reason for your concern, if I'm getting this right, is that the stop would be in Andover and then not here, or anywhere here between
Or we would
us and the gap.
we wouldn't get an express stop.
We don't know, well, the good news is that everything that's come out, including the announcement which took place in December about, and actually there's been some subsequent announcements about the Scranton service, and Blairstown is on the map and Andover is not. So as long as that stays status quo, I wouldn't say there's nothing to worry about, but this is maybe just a tempest in a teapot, we don't know, but it's something of concern just knowing the background from Andover and what I think is their intent. I don't want to overblow this, but I mean, having talked to the mayor in the past there, I think that's what it's up to basically replace, kick you guys off the map, so to speak.
As you know, Gottheimer represents Andover, doesn't represent us. We have Tom Kane, of course, as our representative.
Yes.
Excuse me? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But
That would probably, but I mean, I've been talking to his transportation person.
I'm sure you have, yeah.
But,
he has-
coming from you
sounds like
folks,
the issue, right?
if it coming from you folks, that have more import than coming from me.
Okay, we can do that.
If I'd known that, I would have bent his ear on Sunday. So,
Walter, I wonder if Senator Steinhardt, I think he's got some pretty good connection, maybe he could help us get over
yeah,
his office and maybe get a companion letter to support our position. He's been pretty helpful on that.
but it's clearly a federal issue, though.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
but-
saying maybe Senator Steinhardt could get us in contact with our rep over there, fast.
I'll make some calls tomorrow.
I don't know if you two gentlemen have anything to say, but I dragged you here, so. Actually, they
You know what, I might see the congressman on Saturday, we have the convention on Saturday, he'll probably be there, he'll be there. So I will get a chance to bend his ear a bit.
Perfect.
But, all right, we understand your concern now, I get it,
We know what to do.
yeah.
Yeah. It would be a shame if we had the train come through Blairstown but not actually serve Blairstown.
Correct.
Right, so, yeah.
And the first stop in Pennsylvania is slated to be where?
East Stroudsburg.
East Stroudsburg.
By the old, whatever that restaurant was.
Yeah, actually, it'd be right there, yeah. Interesting that this stop would be, would actually probably pick up some people, we've talked about this before. They would pick up people from northeastern Pennsylvania, because like Portland, Bangor, maybe Penardville. Those people are not going to go to East Stroudsburg. They're probably going to come here if they're going to ride the train.
If I read it correctly though, the Lackawanna cutoff coming from the viaduct all the way to Andover, is that not the only stretch where I think they can hit 110 miles an hour? So theoretically for them, if they come and they hit Jersey, they're doing 110 miles an hour to Andover, then they would slow down the rest of the way. So I'm just thinking.
Will it run like that? Will they actually do that?
If it's an express and they want to
Well, if they didn't have Blairstown stop, it would.
They could, well, I think they could probably get it up to 110. Probably going in the westbound direction. Probably it'll be more difficult going eastbound because you're going uphill. But I mean, Blairstown is, it probably adds about 5 minutes to the schedule. Right now, the projected time between Penn Station, New York, and Scranton is 2 hours and 50 minutes. If you took away Blairstown, maybe it goes to 2:45. But then again, you can start taking all the stops away, and you get to Blairstown to Scranton in 2 hours and 30 minutes, but you don't have anybody riding it because you don't stop anywhere.
Does Andover have the real estate for it? Do they have a location where they could actually?
Well, actually, they're going to hit a New Jersey Transit station, so they're kind of like double dipping here, you know, in terms of, actually, what is behind, and I believe me, I'm a big fan of Andover because what they've done, they actually devoted $115,000 from their open space fund in order to fund getting an easement for, it's a Hudson, I don't want to explain all this, but it's basically a culvert that was holding up the whole process for almost 10 years. Because it was off the property, off of the New Jersey Transit line. They did that and then they pushed for it and, you know, thank goodness they did that with all the timing with Amtrak coming in later. But this is, I think, going too far in terms of their pushing for, but I don't want to really criticize them, but we have to realize that maybe, you know, we have our own interests here, they have their own interests there, but I think Blairstown deserves to stop. I'll just put that.
That section from, I mean, the whole cutoff is not going to be slated for high-speed rail, is it?
Certainly west of Andover. We don't know because of New Jersey Transit, because who's going to establish the speed limit? But Amtrak west of Andover is saying it could be 110. And we know that in the past, trains could exceed 100 miles an hour. So it is conceivable. It's not far-fetched, I put it that way.
So, your phone on the wire. There you go. You always find the culprit.
Okay, we have our marching orders.
Yep.
Well, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
gentlemen.
very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Next month, I expect 4 guys.
With any luck.
All right. Still in public session. Any other public comment? Seeing none? Yeah, I know they're not here. All right, seeing no further comment, I close the public comment section. We'll move on to department head reports for the month of January. Blairstown Fire Department, Hose Company Number 1, Department of Public Works, Police Department, Tax Collector, Township Clerk, Vacant and Abandoned Properties. We will address them in our committee assignments at the end of the meeting. We have a motion to accept the January department head reports.
So moved, Mayor. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. 2 minutes, so we've got December 27th, 2023, our public session meeting minutes, and January 1st, 2024, our reorganization meeting minutes.
I think we better split those up since Karen wasn't here for the 27th, so.
This is true.
She
Erica
was,
wasn't here. Oh,
Mr.
Erica was
Logan,
here.
yes.
Okay.
Erica was somewhere.
All right.
I'll move the December 27th minutes for adoption.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain?
Very good. With that, January 1st, 2024 reorg meeting minutes.
Motion for approval?
Expertly prepared.
Second.
Thank you so much.
Hey.
Well done.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Approve those minutes. We have one ordinance tonight, an introduction of 2024-01, ordinance amending Chapter 142 of the Code of the Township of Blairstown entitled Parks and Recreation Areas. I got a phone call from the DEP saying they'd been going through their ordinances, a lot of smaller town ordinances, and finding things that probably shouldn't be there. And we had a line in there saying that if you had a venomous snake on your property, that you could dispatch it with prejudice. Because there's now an act protecting such snakes, we had to remove that from the ordinance. That's really all this is. We have a motion to introduce 2024-01.
Motion to introduce.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that's a no-brainer ordinance. We have to do it by threat. But actually, the folks that I spoke with were really great, and they understood that towns don't know everything on the books, all these older ordinances.
I hope it doesn't come back to bite us.
Bad joke.
Yeah, I didn't even set that up for you. You just,
We normally do.
yeah, I know. You had it written down right next to it. Our consent agenda tonight have, let's see, 4 items on our consent agenda. 2024-35, a resolution supporting submission of the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs 2024 Local Recreation Improvement Grant. That would be for perhaps something at the Vale Field, or something we're going to...
So let's set that one aside, if we are.
Yep.
Let's set number 1 aside off the consent agenda.
Yep. Number 2, 2024-36, cancellation of taxes due to a totally disabled veteran status. 2024-37, resolution of the Township of Blairstown, County of Warren, and State of New Jersey authorizing execution for the agreement and shared municipal court between the Township of Blairstown and the Municipal Court of Frankfort Township, and Lafayette Township, Sandiston Township, Blairstown Township, Montague Township, and Little Old Walpack Township. We met our judge here tonight, and that is another no-brainer. Number 4, 2024-38, approving vouchers and claims.
Mayor, I'll move number 2, 3, and 4 for adoption.
Second.
All right. Roll call, please, Kristen.
Mrs. Lance? Yes. Mr. Lohman?
Yes.
Mr. McAtory?
Yes.
Mr. Orphat?
Yes.
Mayor Moorhead?
Yes. All right, so back to number 1, our resolution supporting submission of the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs 2024 Local Recreation Improvement Grant. I will say Karen has probably put more hours into this than anyone up here, having spent most of her weekend trying to figure out exactly what we can do with this grant and how much we can go for. And of course, Dennis, French and Perel, has been working closely with you. And, what have we been tossing around? I guess we should probably...
Actually, we've been working on it for a few weeks now. We started by working with Eric from the DPW to see, we actually had an alternate plan that we were considering. We did do some work towards that plan, and we did get some bids towards it, and that is a perimeter path in Sycamore Park. However, we started to realize that we already now possess a lot of the tools and a lot of the know-how that we would be able to do a good portion of that in-house and not have to waste a grant opportunity on it. So when Eric discussed with me that there's just a huge need for something else that's just staring everybody in the face, and it's a septic system and improved plumbing and bathrooms at the Walnut Valley, I say field house, at the concession stand, that there's an opportunity to work towards that instead. And I thought, oh, okay, he's got some kids, maybe one's in cheerleading, one's in football. How large of a consensus would that be? How many people would that help in comparison to some of the other projects that we have discussed in the past? And I started to realize it's been over 20 years that my kids were using that field, and the septic was bad then, right? So it's been bad for a long time. It needs to be addressed. I think you heard Jerry speak, very eloquently about how difficult it is working there, and it's the main fundraiser for the football program. It's used by so many people. If you haven't been on that field, before in the past, your neighbors have been, your family has been, or other people have been. It's enjoyable to go, but not if there's an overflowing bathroom and they have to be locked out and other problems like that. So Eric and I then went through and toured that area and started to look at where the layout was for the septic cleanouts and the solids tanks and where some of the underground piping was. We were very lucky because we just had a remediation project there not too long ago. Actually, I think we still don't have, it's still ongoing. Almost done, almost there. Yeah. So at any rate, we had the plans for that, so to use them as an as-built to be able to draw further on that and then demonstrate the need. We also then, I had an interview with Jerry. I had an interview with somebody from cheerleading and someone from baseball, and the time to take the opportunity to fix that, long-standing of a problem for that many people, really, it didn't make sense to ignore it. So when we started, we thought that the grant was for a maximum of $75,000. When we went a little further and we discussed it with the engineer, we provided him a brief, also some possible septic designs that might be considered to be used in that area. He went through and said, you know what, I have a guy in my office, we've submitted 3 grants for that particular, 3 applications for that particular grant from other towns nearby just this week. So we absolutely have somebody on our staff who does septic design, and we are on board. So we started to look at it from the perspective of what's needed. We would need a resolution from the governing body, and that's what's presented to you this evening. We started to look at other things like numbers of prices. Now, depending upon whether the property itself is able to be perked, if it's the consistency of the soil and things like that, a septic field could be there really under $100,000. Depending upon if it's really not in good condition, could be much more. So that is unknown at this point, but I will point out that immediately north of there and south of there are a lot of farmland, a lot of good fields that have, some of the best types of soils in the whole county, right, from preserved farms too. So I have every expectation that we would be in a good circumstance to have a nice outcome if we did go through with that. Everything is unknown, though, at this point. We're grateful because when we had this mad scramble to try and get all the paperwork done to submit, at the last minute, they extended the grant, recognizing that it's just a lot of information to go through, and there are a lot of other towns that were at an interim phase, and if they cut off the grant application at that point, they would hardly have any applicants at all. Except those 3 that French and Carrillo got in before ours, but whatever. At any rate, the need is there, it's demonstrable, it's something that would benefit the town, it would benefit, I don't know, I believe it's not just those kids who are in that program, but it's also their families and anybody else who's using anywhere near that. That bathroom is open all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and it's open, I think, 7 months out of the year, 8 months out of the year. So that's something as well. There is talk about putting other fields elsewhere. There is talk about putting, why don't we put in a holding tank and pump that? Why don't we put in extra porta-johns? But the truth is, a porta-john is not a good alternative because that's what we already have now. They're already renting porta-johns, even if we own one, which is the proposal that I think you'll hear afterwards. But I think the whole point is They have a finite capacity, and when they're done for the day, they're done, and that's it. And that's no different than what we have right now. So what I would propose is something that would be through this grant, and would be for the longer use, longer-term use, and better viability for a length of time of the septic system. And we would like to get the approval of the committee to be able to support that in the way of this resolution. And that's what we've been working on for the last few weeks.
So for the resolution, we are not specifying what we're using the money for, correct?
No, it says for a septic system.
For a septic system?
You have to kind of get some detail.
Yeah.
So here, you want to start? Mayor?
No, you can go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, we've had larger, much larger numbers batted around. And now we're hearing that you could have about 2,000 people on that playing field in a weekend. This is not your average septic system we're talking about. This is not your homeowner's septic system that costs 50 grand to install at a minimum. This is something much bigger with greater levels of permitting and soil examination, what have you. There's a lot going into it even before we can even decide on putting a new septic system in there. That's why a lot of people limp along on their old septic systems, because it's one of the most costly things you can do as a homeowner, and certainly a business. And it can actually crush a business. Chatterbox up in Augusta was pretty much closed because they could not upgrade their septic system. It was too costly. They wanted about $400,000, and he said, I'd rather just close the doors and sell the place than to put $500,000 I don't have into a septic system. So when you talk about a septic system that has that capacity, you're talking much bigger numbers than anything that a homeowner would see. So I think we really kind of need to accept any kind of idea of even the holding tank. They have very sizable holding tanks. And that probably requires a lot less permitting than putting the waste out into the ground. That's just my 2 cents, because I heard about this in really the 11th hour. I was hearing the walking path for the longest time, and then when this came about, it makes sense, but we're going for a $100,000 grant, and I do think we're going to end up going above that and tripping on our own feet.
So what we're learning, and we talked to Dennis at length earlier before the meeting tonight about that cost also, and the cost is north of, it's probably north of 100,000 up to 200 to 230,000. Ludicrous amount of money. If anybody has any experience in a residential septic system, you'd think you put a new field in for 30 or 40 grand. This is different apparently though, in that there's a heavy load coming in and it has to be treated completely differently. I'm not interested in doing that at all. I've been very clear about that. So the mayor and I got talking about it, kicking it around. I have been saying for the last 2 months, last 2 years actually, let's put a holding tank down there, pump the holding tank out, put a 2,000 gallon tank. It costs $300 to pump 1,000 gallons. Everybody knows that, who gets their septics pumped. So that's not a big deal. That's one option. It's a permitting process or whatever. Then the mayor and I got our thinking caps on this morning and started doing a little bit of research, and we started looking into the mobile trailer-based mobile bathrooms actually. And if you've been to a concert or if you've been to whatever, certain venues, weddings in the middle of farmlands or whatever, these are very popular things to use. They make them. They range anywhere from $40,000 to $100,000. The very best ones, but just as leaning toward the best, has the ADA compliant bathroom. Plus, it has anywhere from 2 to 4 other bathrooms. Or some of the models are longer and they have a bigger bathroom with a couple of stalls and urinals on the guy's side and a couple of extra stalls on the women's side. There's many variations of the floor plan that we could come up with. What I really liked about it was this. Sorry. Yeah, they're heated. I'm not so much air conditioned, I don't think, but they probably are. Yeah. What I liked about it also is that when we have special events, like in Footbridge Park or maybe we have a bicycle race in Sycamore Park, they can be brought wherever. If there's a, I don't know, major crime scene or a disaster going on, we also have this, this that we can bring to another site. It seems a lot better place to put our money than to put, 250 grand into a septic system, which is just going to benefit one concession stand. And at the end of the day, we don't have an ADA compliant bathroom at the concession stand, and I'm pretty sure that the concession stand bathrooms are nothing great inside. I don't remember being in there, but I don't. So that's what I'm going to try to promote with the thing. And then, we're talking about developing some other properties. You don't even know this from the football program, but Charlie has some other great ideas that he's working on. And when we have some flexibility with our with a stand like, a mobile operation like this, maybe we have two of these things, who knows? But I think it's a lot better to put our money into something like this than putting $250,000 into a septic system for one concession stand at Walnut Valley, which is a bit undersized no matter what, no matter how you slice it down there.
How many people can that accommodate?
They talk about, I think it's in the paperwork, Eric, that you have on the desk, but they talk about in terms of flushes, right? So it was a pretty crazy number, like 1,400 flushes or something. 2,000 flushes max on this one unit. And we can work backwards from the unit sizes. We kind of know the amount of gallonage that we need at that site based on the historical evidence from the porta-johns that are there. Because we know the porta-johns sat there for X number of months and there were so many gallons. So we kind of do actually know that number. So we can definitely work it out and size it to size a unit that will work best for us. They have the cheaper units are built more on a mobile home, not mobile home, an RV chassis. It's wood and paneling. It's just like an RV, basically, made into a big bathroom. But the better units, the ones that are $70,000 to $100,000, they're like this picture here. They're all steel. They're hurricane proof, and they use them. They sell these to the federal government. The guy was telling me the Navy uses them. They're coming up. They're actually, I think, they've got some units going to Homedale, which I didn't ask them, but that's where the PNC Art Center is, I think, right?
Yeah.
So they're probably going there.
Yeah, Art Center uses just those.
Yeah, so they're probably making more of those.
They just use straight porta-johns.
There's all kinds of videos and photographs of the inside. Everything's stainless steel, washdown paneling, that really good floors. It's all. And the ADA compliance is a big deal too, really.
So we have that's one of the porta-johns, we've always had that down there, but.
Yeah, you have an ADA porta-john.
Right, if you're going based on the porta-johns, you're gonna have to double, sometimes triple it, because those bathrooms are, we've had games where you can't even use the porta-johns anymore. People have to leave to go use the bathroom.
So that's part of it, and I think.
It's a massive thing, and this is like, so
It doesn't help with the kitchen at all.
It doesn't help with the kitchen, and
Well, it takes the septic strain completely off the kitchen.
Right.
There's no human waste going into the septic. It's only the water going into the septic from the
so
sink.
I'm not, Eric would know this, from what I understand, there's fume issues and all kinds of things that, come from, a new septic would be, would take care of all that. I don't know any of that. I just know that, I'm gonna tell you, I don't know if you have poor Eric or whoever cleaning them, they're gonna be a nightmare. They get trashed. They get absolutely trashed. So you're gonna have time and money from your DPW guys or whoever you're hiring to clean them out, move them around. And then we run into the problem where, God forbid, that there's a big issue. Are you gonna take that away from us down at the field? And then go take it to some big, issue that's going on? So, it doesn't help us. And like I said, I don't have any experience with the firehouse, but I hear there's some major issues that they run into with their septic end. So that doesn't help them at all. And, I know everyone keeps saying, put so much money into one thing. There's 800 kids that this affects multiple times.
And Jerry, we're trying to find the best solution
I get it,
for the taxpayers of Blairstown, okay?
I agree with you, but the kids are the future, and the town has to put money back into the kids. Sycamore Park is gorgeous. I get it, walking path would be great. I use the one down in Milton, that's wonderful. But Walnut Valley has been completely ignored for a really, really long time.
It's not fair to say that. We did clean up the buildings, re-roofed the concession stands,
They did
cleaned it up
re-roof-
last year.
they did re-roof,
It's not fair to say that, Jerry.
But this has been an issue for, I mean, my kids played there 10 years ago and the bathrooms were a nightmare.
And we're trying to fix an issue that's been out there for
Absolutely.
20 years.
Like I said, I'm just saying that I'm telling you from being down there every week, even sometimes during the week, we have times when we don't have games down there and they only have one day of practice there, like in the beginning of the season. We can go down there, Jared can tell you, he's my field manager, those bathrooms are trashed. They're absolutely trashed. That we've had people that, vandalize them. So this has to sit down there from July 15th until Thanksgiving. And we're there, we're in and out all week long. There's different days for practices and stuff. And you're gonna leave this $100,000 item out, and I'm telling you, it's gonna get trashed.
Does the fire-
We have stuff down there that gets,
Excuse me, does the firehouse share the same septic system?
No.
No,
Two
actually,
separate-
would you like me to speak about that? Because
Yeah.
we did study it. So the firehouse has a septic system as well, with the clean out from that is in the immediate northeast corner of the building. And it's too close to the surface. That clean out is frozen constantly in the wintertime. Again, once the bathrooms there have already been closed for the season and winterized. So if there's a uniform pickup, drop off, any of the other things, they do use the firehouse. And they also use that firehouse for storage. There's one whole bay there that they use for, I think, for tackle dummies, for football and some lacrosse things and whatever else. But if they have to use a bathroom there, that bathroom is no good either. That bathroom, the clean out and the piping, Eric showed me, goes underneath and it actually goes immediately adjacent to that field house. They don't know where the septic field is for that. And the piping and the solids clean out is right where people are buying food to eat, right?
But that septic, or the bathroom in the firehouse literally doesn't get used.
It's almost no use at all. That's correct.
So
So
it
that's
shouldn't
the
be,
opposite problem.
it shouldn't be an issue of any fumes or anything, or any odors
no,
coming
the
from that
fumes are
septic.
from the sink in the concession stand, not from the firehouse. I'm not in that part of the firehouse very often. But my point is that there's lots of issues down there. And while we do appreciate the roof, it was great. We did a lot down there last year and we're just asking for a little that's something we can't do. We can't do a septic. And like I said, we make do with the porta-johns and stuff. It's not ideal. The porta-johns are not ideal. Jared can definitely speak probably more on it. But this is not ideal.
I spend a good part of half my life down there during football season, right? I can tell you that I've caught people in the porta-johns vandalizing it. I've cleaned it myself. I've caught people doing drugs in there. When I spend hours down there painting the field, not only doing practice, I've kicked drifters out. There's a lot of different stuff. And the porta johns are not locked. Hopefully we can find some way we can lock this so they're not vandalized from the inside. If somebody breaks this before our game, what are we supposed to do, right? What is baseball supposed to do? Although I'm not opposed to something like this, we still need some work to be done inside for that septic, for the sink, for the food purpose, for that stuff. Whatever we come to, if we can come to an agreement to allocate some of that money to fixing that, and we can get something like that, listen, maybe that would work. But I can tell you from experience, being down there a long time, UPS goes in there, FedEx goes in there, every person that drives a bike goes in there. I catch so many people in there because, guys, when I tell you, Kristen, a lot of people know me in town, I am there all the time, right? And I coach there. There is a lot of people that use those porta johns, and they get destroyed. And I every morning before the games, I go into the concession stands bathrooms. I make sure they're good. I make sure everything's good to try to keep it presentable. If we could just get a little bit better maintenance and fix that a little bit more, I think we could come to an agreement. I think it would work for everybody down there.
And I'll be honest, if there's that kind of vandalism happening on something that we are renting, we don't own that. Someone comes and takes it away, right?
But
if
this
that
isn't
type
the
of
porta
vandalism-
john. I think that's what we're missing. This is a bathroom. This will be locked when you're not there.
But it is a temporary bathroom, and it is movable, and it is vandalizable.
It doesn't solve.
Our bathrooms are vandalizable.
Correct.
Is that a word?
Yeah, yeah.
But this doesn't
Right.
solve the problem of having a septic system. So my question would be, if you submit the grant and you're asking for $100,000 for a septic system, is that going to lock you into a septic system, or can you possibly go with the holding tanks, a 2,000-gallon holding tank?
That's what I
The
thought. as
holding
an interim
holding
is
tank
better.
sounds like it solves their problem.
Yeah.
It's not as expensive as something like this. This is a great secondary item, but I personally don't think that that's going to solve the problem.
I don't think it really, I think it
It's a
could
short-term
be an asset
fix.
for the town.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think it could be an asset for the town and it could be used in other ways, but I don't think it solves this problem. But I think the other thing too is that since we found out that the grant was extended, so the application deadline is extended, we do actually have until next March, our next meeting in March, sorry, in April. Oh,
We have till April so we can.
Our next meeting to do
yeah,
action.
to take action.
Okay.
And by that time, I believe we would still like to have French and Corella go through the motions of understanding what the cost should be, could be, rather than pie in the sky, it's going to be $250,000. Anything could be $250,000, but it could also be 100 or 75. In the whole scheme of things, we know it's going to be good soil, we just have remediation done there, and we already know that. If it really becomes prohibitive, I think that the second option, the interim option of having a holding tank is greatly preferred to this. Because, you know, if nothing else, it solves the problem for not just the water use, I mean, the water use in general in that building rather than the septic problem. Because there are two problems, they're not just the one.
The other thing, I mean, as far as the doors presently are not locked,
They are locked. So that started last year. So last year we had a kind of a big issue. It was actually before we painted the concession stand, somebody tagged the outside of it with all pretty awful things. So that's the other thing too. Like I'm really not trying to be like, I'm against it. We had some, it's really gone downhill.
well, I'm just thinking if we had like a 2,000-gallon tank, the
Yeah.
last thing we'll do is keep the doors open for them.
Yeah.
No, it has to be locked.
Express
Yeah, I think
everybody else.
baseball has a
I think
key,
the
he
tank
has
has to be
keys, so
larger.
everybody has a key that uses it.
That tank has to be larger than
so yeah.
2,000. I'm sorry, I don't mean to speak out of turn, and I'm sure that your septic engineer could clarify it more. My house has a 6,000-gallon tank. If you're having 2,000 people, you're going to need something much larger than a 2,000-gallon holding tank. Because I'm operating on a 6,000, and I have to clean that out twice a year, and I'm one person. You're having 2,000 people go, I don't think a 2,000-gallon tank is going to last a weekend, especially because you're also using water from the concession stand. So, I mean,
So
again,
the
check with the
capacity
septic
issue certainly would
engineer.
be addressed by the engineer,
Yeah,
not
the
anyone else.
engineer would handle your capacity issue, but you keep tossing around 2,000, and that sounds great, because $2,000 tank, not very expensive, you know, in the scheme of things. But I think once you consult the engineer, you're probably going to find out you need a much larger tank than that. And with 2,000 people going, I mean, what about fundraising, kind of make this a joint effort?
So we do a lot of fundraising because we keep our.
But I mean
things
specifically
going well.
for this project.
Yeah, that was, that would be great.
I mean, you laugh, but I think it was the Moms Club that did that amazing fundraiser for what they did at Sycamore. So,
The playground.
yeah, with Playground. And, you know, then they had contractors volunteer, and people donated mulch, and I know I donated supplies and money. So there is a way for the community, I think, to come together and do this jointly with the governing body.
Okay, so trying to get through this consent agenda.
So you know what?
Shall we table this until the next meeting?
I think so.
And we'll have a lot, but of course, Dennis will have a lot more time to do some exploratory.
So between the recreation subcommittee, the buildings and grounds subcommittee, the finance subcommittee,
Just the committee.
we'll come up with, no, not the committee as a whole, we'll come up with something before the next meeting.
I think so.
That
I'll
sounds.
make a motion to table the second.
All in
Number
favor?
one, yeah, aye.
There you go. Tabling number one. I forget, it was about an hour ago. Did we approve the rest of the?
We did.
Okay, all right, good,
We did,
good,
Derek.
thanks.
Don't worry.
Thanks. Let's see here. We have our resignation of our police clerk. And it's from Lisa Weitzel. Really, such a great person and such a a big part of the police department. It was tough to see her go. You want to read that resolution, Police Commissioner?
Sure.
Or that resignation?
Okay, the Chief Johnson, Kristen Ships, and Blairstown Township Committee from Police of Weissman. Please accept this letter as my formal request to retire from the Blairstown Township, where I've been employed full-time for the past 15 years at Blairstown Police Department. I currently have 28 years credits in my PERS pension system. My husband is previously retired, and I wish to join him for a move to North Carolina, where we recently have purchased a home to build. My last employment will be February 29, 2024. Please accept my resignation as OEM Administrative Assistant as well. I will finish out any unfinished business, and I will miss the contents I have made and wish my department all the best. Sincerely yours, Lisa Weissel. In speaking with the chief, and I mean, I've only been here 3 years, but she's going to be very sorely missed, and I know that they're not looking forward to it, but unfortunately people move on.
She gave us 5 weeks' notice, and Chief Johnson went to work immediately to find a replacement. And after an awful lot of interviewing, he did hire someone. 160 candidates, and narrowed it down to Nicole McGretto.
Yes.
She comes to us from Blairstown Elementary School. Is that right?
Correct.
Sorry about.
She had a very good resume.
Sorry, VES, for stealing her away, but she sounded like a great candidate, and we're happy to have her here.
Hopefully her first day was Monday, correct?
Yeah. Unfinished business.
We need a resolution.
We need
need a
to
resolution.
Charlie,
motion
can you?
For
resignation.
to hire.
I'll make a resolution that we, first of all, accept the resignation of Lisa Weissman.
Why don't you talk about Porta Johns for another half hour?
And second one?
I'll second that.
Thank you, sir.
All in favor? Actually, roll call.
Resignations and all.
Are we the
The
hiring? Are we?
We need to do the
No,
resignation.
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 One thing at a time.
Okay. Accepting the resignation. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Sorry to see you go, Lisa.
All right, I had wrote the individual statement, I don't have it.
McGretto, just had
I'll
it.
make the motion.
McGretto.
2024-39 hiring police clerk.
I would like to make a motion that we approve the hiring of Mr. McGretto,
Nicole McGretto, right, Nicole?
starting last Monday.
Yep.
Deputy Police Commissioner, would you second that?
I will second that. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Lance?
Yes.
Mr. Lohman?
Yes.
Mr. McNatora?
Yes.
Mr. Orkoff?
Yes.
Mayor Moorhead?
Yes. On to unfinished business. Back to you, Charlie, on the Jones farm. There it is, looking so picturesque.
Well, we removed all the snow. As far as the Jones Farm, I want to thank our deputy mayor, working with DPW. They actually got rid of the very first wooden structure out front.
You see this structure right here, that front part?
It's no
It's
longer there.
gone.
So it's the start of a very long process. I did speak with our friend down in Georgia today, and he is looking at the weather. His biggest concern is that we don't have any mornings or where there's frost on the ground, because that will make the roof basically slippery and it won't be able to go until it's about 10 in the morning. He was going to get back to me tonight. Unfortunately, he didn't do so, but I would anticipate, in speaking to him, I think he's very anxious to be here. He's looking to come up at least for 5 days to get this started. So I'm hoping you see some action with that before next committee meeting. And that's all I have for the Jones Farm.
All right. Our grant agreement for preservation between County of Warren, State of New Jersey, Warren County, and Blairstown for the library.
No.
No.
Oh, this is for, why does it say library? It literally says library.
No, that's the Warren County, I'm sorry, that's separate. It's a separate line.
Okay, that's the third
The
line.
second line.
All right, so this is for the footbridge park. Bridge.
It is, it's for the footbridge.
Do you want
Yeah.
to fill us in on that?
Well, I just want to reiterate, thank you very much to the Warren County Municipal Conservancy Trust. I'm sure I did butcher that, but because it's those folks from Warren County that help us advise the freeholders on this thing.
Aren't you on that committee, Walter?
I've heard that. I've heard that. He did recuse himself from the vote, if anybody's curious about that, which is proper. But I will say that our application was expertly put together by Christine Beagle and the entire team from the Blairstown Historic Preservation Committee. There were letters of support from so many different organizations, mentions of a lot of the different events and festivals that happen in the park. And it was very gratifying to go down and be among so many other applicants for buildings, which is normally the preservation effort within Warren County is towards saving buildings. I understand that, but it was really lovely for them to be able to recognize that it's still a structure, it still has great historic value, it still has the affection and attention of the town, it still is something very lovely. It really is the jewel in the crown of Footbridge Park. And so thank you very much for the freeholders and their wisdom in granting that, and for the Warren County Municipal Conservancy, for awarding us that grant. It was $70,000, and the municipality also gave a matching fund of, I think it was 26. We said up to 40, depending upon what was the total for there as a percentage of total. So it's the first step towards preserving that footbridge, and the next step will be the application that's going to be put through to extend our historic district to include the bridge, because that gives us extra points and extra matching funds, soft costs, everything for every other application we do from then on. So onward to bigger and better things. Thank you.
Okay. So Warren County Library, the Blairstown office is moving, right? They should be.
They said the 11th now.
Oh, that's been pushed back. Yeah. Move to Hope, is that right?
They're moving to the basement of the church over there where they have a food and nutrition program or something, the Episcopal church, one of the churches.
And leaving it, we'll still have a drop-off box here?
We'll have one drop-off box.
Okay, all right. New business.
Mayor, do we need a motion to authorize the mayor to?
Yes, please. I was going to say that.
Oh, the grant?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I have it up here. That's right.
Okay.
Can we have a motion to authorize that
I move
execute the
that
grant?
the mayor be authorized to sign the acceptance of that grant.
Second?
Roll call? No roll call? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, I'll sign the grant paperwork today. New business, sample stormwater ordinance, we still work on that?
We covered that with Dennis.
Yeah.
He and I are on top of that.
Yeah. SWAC, Solid Waste
Oh,
Advisory.
you're done with talking about that.
Yeah, we just can't get away from these topics
It's all
tonight.
about the water. It's really
Well,
not.
think about recycling now. Think about it as recycling. Are you going to do that, Mayor? Are you going to be a member of SWAC, or are you going to appoint someone?
I don't know, who really gets into solid waste here? I would say that our junior member,
It's in my blood.
it is in your blood. He's all about solid waste. Eric, you want to take on your? Okay.
So we do need a motion and a second, and all in favor of your appointment.
I move that the mayor nominate, I move that Eric be our solid waste advisory committee member from Blairstown.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we're giving you all the good jobs. We got an application for facility use from Spitfire Consulting. They want to use this room, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And this is for police training, I believe?
That is correct.
Okay.
Motion for approval.
Yeah.
I have a question,
Any question?
because there is supposed to be a fee.
Sorry again?
There's supposed to be a fee of $300.
Except,
It's for police training, correct?
I'm just doing my due diligence and telling you there's supposed to be a fee, so if you're going to accept it.
Yeah, I think there a couple of the officers are being trained for free in lieu of compensation.
Okay,
That's-
so if you can say
that
that
was-
in motion, please.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So moved.
All in favor?
Yes.
Do we have a second? I thought,
They said it. Fees waived, so moved,
yeah,
nothing.
yeah, there you go, all right.
That's why we take the meetings. You
Yeah.
remember?
That's one of those no-brainer things, you know. 2024 election polling location. They've settled on the school?
No.
No.
It's not the school.
Firehouse.
The firehouse, oh, that's right. It kind of
Yes.
pushed around a little bit.
All 5 districts are going to now be located at the firehouse for this, the next 2 elections. Hopefully it'll be permanent.
However, and you guys all know how the general election is, there's a zillion people out voting, and that's why they're moving all districts to the firehouse this year. We are having early voting here in this room the week prior, which works out pretty well. Like the last 2 elections or something were held here. So keep that in mind about voting early. It works pretty well, actually.
And your mail-in ballot can also be dropped off in a drop box.
Just,
Mail-in ballots, but
just don't use the bathrooms at the
we
firehouse.
have a drop box on the front porch for mail-in ballots too.
Here they're bad.
I didn't, yeah. it's like-
That's not the main firehouse. They're talking about Walnut Valley Firehouse, right?
What? You're very welcome.
It's not just bathroom talk tonight, solid waste talk. Shredding event, we have a shredding event coming up. Usually this is all you and your little thing.
I
you
didn't
like
really
to
want to
talk
talk
about.
today.
You don't want to talk today?
One of
Okay.
your big things, come on.
Yeah,
come on.
we love when you talk about that. The shredding event is coming up May 11th, right here at Town Hall. You can bring all of your sensitive documents. No, she doesn't want to talk tonight.
You
And
just said it, 2 boxes
2 box,
from 8 to 11.
8 to 11.
How is our shredder working out that we have
It is
in-house?
wonderful. I want to thank you for allowing me to purchase
I
it.
was Charlie, but yes.
Charlie, thank you.
Also coming up is our spring cleanup from May 28th. No, I don't think she wants to talk about that because she put it here. May 28th to June 1st. You can start to pick up your vouchers for the spring cleanup when?
April
April
15th.
15th. You just made that up. But we'll have them ready by April 15th. All right.
That is Memorial Day week, so. See y'all. We
Okay.
have a long weekend to get.
Are there any rules to this?
Yes, you can't bring the hazardous stuff. You can't bring a U-Haul truck. I don't know if anybody knew that. You can't rent a U-Haul truck and then bring it, because they'll say no.
To the PCFA? They don't
It's a
allow-
pickup truck or trailer, right?
No
You can't
commercial
have a
plates.
commercial advertisement on it
Can't
at
have,
all.
No commercial
Right.
plates on the
Yeah, no
vehicle.
commercial plates. You
Solid.
can't use your construction truck. They will say no.
That's our solid waste expert now.
He's already doing a great job.
You have to have an A901 permit.
8901. Okay.
What is the reasoning for that?
That's their rules, not our rules.
It can't have no lettering on the side with somebody's name?
Well, you can cover it up.
Yeah.
Guess so.
I mean, if you have, they
They
definitely
make
will
that
say
blue
you.
tape
Solid
work.
waste across the side.
Yes, there you go. It's their rules.
That's very close.
Okay, as my headache gets worse.
I have medicine.
Correspondence. Letter from the NJDOT.
This is just acknowledgement, so you guys know that we received it. You don't have to take any action on it. I just listed it and
Okay.
you can move on.
We got the letter, guys, thanks. What is all the other stuff here? Oh, well, okay, let's talk about your NJDOT Route 94 bridge over Jacksonburg Creek. Are you bringing that up? So as you know, it's been in the works, so you may not know, it's been in the works for quite a few years now to repair the Route 94 bridge that goes over the Jacksonburg Creek right by,
Blue Ridge.
yeah, right, if you make a right at Blue Ridge, you're turning just before that bridge. That bridge was built in 1931. If you've ever gone underneath it to fish, you know it's in some pretty bad shape. And Walter would like to show,
I don't know if I can.
okay.
But keep talking.
So, please enjoy some Samsung TV while he gets his stuff in here.
That's the response from the audience.
Yeah. So the construction project is actually a ways off. This probably won't happen until late 2027?
Yes,
Is that right?
that's what it said.
Yeah. I think it's 27, yeah. So, I mean, we're talking about something.
Fall of 2027.
Fall of 2027.
Which means spring of 2028.
Right. But traffic will be affected the way it was with the bridges by Bridge Street. And it's, I believe, an 18-month project. Is that what they said?
It said 22.
22, I was being nice. 22-month
And
project.
it's also going to cost $14 million.
$14 million. Boy, how many septic tanks could we put in if we had...
What is this?
This is Walter trying to use his iPad. Just pretend it's not up there.
That's the TV itself.
It's probably a way to turn that off, Walter. I'll just keep repeating. I don't.
Keep going.
So, anyway, the big concern and what will affect us is truck traffic coming out of the lumberyard, right? Any deliveries coming out of there, they won't be able to make a right-hand turn onto 94. So they're going to need to make a left-hand turn, make a U-turn, and then proceed south.
Actually, right now, if I may, Mayor, they actually have them coming into, if they wanted to go right-handed, they'd have to go to our municipal lot.
Yes.
Yeah, go around.
That's the plan. Well, that was a plan talked about in 2019. So 5 years ago, we were talking about a plan to have them turn around in the municipal lot, go around the building, back out, and then go south on 94.
Which you'll still have to swing out and put on traffic to get out of our parking lot.
They want to widen the entrance. Right. But this was talk. There's really very little in writing. All we found was some minutes from that meeting, but I don't think we have any agreement in writing that they're going to be widening our.
Actually, the video that the deputy mayor's trying to bring up shows the whole map and shows it going around.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Just look at the
They do.
screenshot of the map, which is coming.
Someone remembered that meeting from 5 years ago, obviously.
You there?
I wasn't there. My name's not on it. It's not a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea at all, but obviously, like I said, someone remembers the meeting we had 5 years ago. I don't think there's going to be much truck traffic. I don't know how many trucks go in and out of Blue Ridge each day, but I can't imagine anything.
I read on there that they were supposed to somebody was supposed to go down and talk to the folks at Blue Ridge to find out how many trucks they had
Right.
on a weekly basis.
That probably wasn't done 5 years ago. Yeah. So as I said, all this stuff is years off, and some of us won't be sitting up here anymore, I'm sure. All right, can we move on? Anything else in correspondence?
Not what was done.
Anything else you have?
No.
Okay. All right, from the township attorney. Gosh, play us out, please.
I can't really think of anything solid waste related.
That's all we've been talking about. It's been a real crappy night.
I think I'll pass.
Okay, all right, very good. Thank you, Kevin.
We do have an executive session after this meeting.
From the township clerk, I'm going to assume you want to say nothing tonight. All right.
All the stuff I had to say has been on the agenda.
You made us say it.
Yes.
You made me limp through it. All right, committee member Lance.
I am going to yield my time to Bob Halberstadt, who is quietly sitting in the back of the room. And I'd like for him very much to give the statistics for the entire last year for Blairstown Ambulance Corps.
Please don't, Bob.
Bob Halberstadt, Ambulance Corps. I didn't write him down this last.
Oh, I got him right here.
All right, you can call him out.
Okay, I
if
will.
you want
And
to.
if you
I'll
have
listen
any
to him,
comment
and
that
I'll
you
give some
want to
update on our recruit.
Okay. So for the total year of 2023 statistics, 1,100 calls, traveled over 22,000 miles in an area that we cover that is about 200 square miles, which is a new record for the Blairstown Ambulance Squad. January calls were 108, miles were 2,090. And I'm going to let you take it from there, Bob, because you want to talk about the recruiting.
I'll add a little bit to this. The squad's doing much better because COVID has somewhat ended and we're able to do more calls. But incidentally, we do not bill our residents, no out-of-pocket expenses to anybody who travels with us, if you want to call it. So if you have insurance, that's all we ask of you. We recruit at the elementary school. I'll stand over here. We recruit at the elementary school, and we have signs up over most of the area, especially in the spring weather. And it seems to be working. We have some kids from the high school who are now cadets. And we have some adults who actually signed up, who wanted to become members, and they've gone to our EMS school. Some are graduating. We have most of our days covered, and most of our nights covered. We go mutual aid with Milton, because if they're busy, if they don't have a squad, that there we answer calls there. But we do answer calls in Harvard, Freeling, Eisen, Hope, and the Kittatinny Trail, the Appalachian Trail. We used to go to Walpack, actually, but it took us 45 minutes to go from here to Walpack. So I think Blue Mountain maybe covers that now. And besides, the road is terrible, so it's better. That's all I have to say. I want to thank you. Incidentally, regarding this, did you guys think about maybe the trucks from Blue Ridge making a right turn, going up Jacksonburg to Mohegan, and then come down to 94? Instead of making a big right turn, you know, Jacksonburg, come out to Mohegan Road, and then come down.
Bob, there was a meeting in 2019 between the DOT, Steve Lance, and Joanne Van Valkenburg, and we have the minutes of that. We were glad to share with you. They went over all the alternatives to doing this, including going through the Dollar General parking, using that street, talking about Bear Cave Road, the other side of Jacksonburg.
I was busy that day, so.
So they did talk this didn't fall out of the sky.
Okay.
And I'm also going to say what I've been saying to the mayor and to Charlie. This is 4 years from now. I'm having a hard time wasting any brain cells on this.
I agree with you.
Okay?
Fortunately, I'll still be around then. I'll still be vertical.
I hope so.
Of course you will, you're immortal.
Look who's talking.
Thanks for joining us.
Lovely to see you, Bob. Thank you.
Here, Bob.
All right. Committee member Lohman.
I don't have a whole lot. I did go down to the League of Municipalities training down in how was that, Mount Laurel.
Mount Laurel.
That was great. It was good to see other councilmen and women that bounce ideas off of and got some good ideas. I don't have a lot, so I'll yield to the next person.
All right, very good. Thank you, sir. Committee member McAtura.
All right. For the police, obviously, we already talked about the resignation and the hire. But I have two, some of you may have seen this on Facebook, may have not. I have two, if I can find letters that the chief received recently. These are just interesting things. The second was going to be very interesting. But on February 14th, this is to Chief Johnson from Sergeant B. February 14th, letter of accommodation. Reference police officer Rizvani. Let me say it correctly. Anyway, on Wednesday, February 14th, 2024, Officer Rizvani was dispatched to Dales Market for a public assist. Upon arrival, he met with an individual that had ascertained he was homeless and did not eat in a few days and had no money. Officer Rizvani, understanding that the individual is going through hardship, that most of us have not, individuals going through a hardship, that most of them have not used his own money, used his own money, bought him food and hot coffee. Officer Rizvani treated him with respect and compassion. His dedication to the residents of Blairstown and to the public service as a great example to our profession, not only in the department, but to the public as well. What Officer B forgot to put in that is he also contributed to help this individual. So it's just a nice little outstanding job that the police department did for the public. This last one was something most recently, and this happened on February 2nd, and this is an investigation the department had. It says, Blairstown Police Chief, attention Chief Johnson. On February 2nd, 2024, I was really taken in by a group of hackers who convinced me that they were looking to help me fix my hacked computer. They admonished me that My banking account also been hacked. I was working with a woman who said she was from PNC headquarters, who was helping me, and I was advised to get a cashier's check and overnight it to the UPS to an address in Rialto, California. After realizing I was being scammed the next morning, I went to the Blairstown PD at 7 a.m., where I met with Officer Tom Tucka and Officer Bisano. After explaining my problem to the Officer Tucka, he immediately called the police department in Rialto, California. Then Officer Tucka called the USPD customer service. Between the police departments and UPS, they were able to intercept the $45,000 check and make the status return to sender before anyone could access the check. Officer Tucka stayed in contact with me several times throughout the day until we were sure the check was being returned. The way Officer Tucka and Bisano helped me was above and beyond a call of duty, to which I am eternally grateful. Thank you again to the officers of Blairstown Police Department for all your help and empathy in this overwhelming and embarrassing situation. I always thought and knew that the red flags to look for if anything was ever happened to me. But I could not believe how easy it was to fall victim to these scammers. And I'm going to leave the resident anonymous. But that was this month, so for the people out there, the scammers have gotten really, really sophisticated and good. So if you have any doubt, don't send money. Call back, hang up, call back. But don't deal with people that call you and solicit any information at all. Always call back. So for the police department, that's all I have. The planning board meeting, we're talking about hiring a planner. So what's going to be important for that as we come into the budget session, we need to try to appropriate, see how much money we want to spend for a planner. The planning board itself is just trying to get the ideas of exactly what we're going to use the planner for, because obviously we can't hire somebody full time. We're looking at anywhere from $150 to $200 an hour for a planner. So that's something we're going to be taking into consideration for the budgeting session. Again, we talked about Jones Farm. The last thing is the animal control. I've been looking into it. I've been talking to, as we call him, Officer Robbins, about an online dog licensing system. So for just under $1,800, we have a company out in California. It would be an online system for the residents. They would be able to log on, put in all their animals' information, certifications, pay online, and the only thing the municipality would have to do from there would be mailing out your dog tag. Anybody that didn't want to do it online could obviously still come in here and probably do it person to person. There's 3 different ways of being able to pay. One would be PayPal. The other one is you just mail in a check. And then the last one is an agency called paygov.us. They would probably charge you like $1 for a transaction on top of whatever our dog licenses are. So it's something that I've talked to the company. They're going to give me a 7-day trial with mock data. I'm hoping that's something we can maybe move forward. Every year, automatically in December, you get an email from basically from the municipality saying, your animal's up for renewal, and there'll be a link right there. You can log on, and you won't have to forget like most of us do and end up paying penalties in February, March, April. I think we even had some in October this year, correct? So again, it comes out to $1,788. It's a very, very robust database with a lot of data. You can put in your pet's information, vaccines, you can put in your chip information, you can put in if they're ever lost, what type of medications they need, what that. So I think it's a step in the right direction. So, that's it. I don't know if we want to, I would like to evaluate it for this next 7 days, possibly come back next meeting and make a recommendation and purchase it. Okay.
Is it something that would be sent to me?
I'm sorry?
Would it be obviously sent to me or to the dog licensing official, or is it something you're just going to do?
The prototype?
Yes.
It's going to come to me.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a web-based application then, so everything resides on their server.
So it's
all.
cloud. Awesome.
Okay. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you, Charlie. Deputy Mayor Orcutt.
A couple things. Let me show you. I'm going to do my pictures here. We got, when the state was doing a big project on 46 the state was doing a big project on Route 46, and they had about some crazy amount, 500 loads of soil in there.
No, she has to choose.
Stop.
I didn't touch it.
I don't know, right here. Apparently they both work. Relax. And so we got 100 loads. We brought in 100 loads. It's clean fill. This is down on Lambert, just on Lambert Road, looking towards the Sycamore Park. If you guys recall, there were guardrails along that road. We talked about this last meeting that we were going to do. There were guardrails, and it was like a drop off. It was a tough place. They had to weed whack this whole quarter-of-a-mile section and everything. So they brought in, I think they put about 85 loads in there, and they used another 10 or 15 loads to cover up some other mess they had somewhere else. And there it is, looking down toward Lambert Road Bridge.
Is there more coming?
No, not. They can't bring any more in here because of the floodplain. This is about the limits. If you can see where the tree is, where it's wet in there, in a perfect world, you would go all the way past the tree, but you really couldn't because of the floodplain. But this way, when we resurface, which we are doing this year, Lambert Road, when we resurface Lambert Road, we don't have to put the guardrails back either and deal with that expense.
And they're expensive.
Yeah, well, the guardrails are not as expensive as redoing the road, but they're stupid expensive.
What did we do with the old one?
We keep them. They're up in the yard with all the rest of our junk, but you never know when we need a piece to replace another piece somewhere else. We're pretty good like that. We talked before about the demo that we did at Jones Farm, which was really a good start, because when Charlie's crew gets in here from Georgia, hopefully in the next month, to start taking the barn down, they'll basically be taking it down to the block walls. And when they leave, then our guys can, at their leisure, go in from time to time and take down the block walls. And we will ultimately, we're saving all that block and debris, and we're going to crush that. And it's great, great material. We have a pretty good stockpile of it now, and we're going to bring a big unit in. We'll actually probably crush it there instead of hauling it all somewhere else. You see what else they did? They put the DPW put a new gate down at the dog park, which has been very, very well received and very well used, by the way. I have nothing but favorable feedback coming from the dog park. They did the first quarter meter reading at for the water company, and those bills will be going out soon, and that'll be under the new rate structure, right, guys? They'll be billing that. And of course, they did a really great job plowing and salting during the last snowstorm, which we don't see too many of, thankfully. Global warming's working out just right. What else do we have for the regular? We talked about Jacksonburg. You stole my thunder with Sal's letter, and that's it.
Okay.
We have some.
Thank you, Debbie.
We have a few items for executive session, but they were,
Those are for
contract
attorney
negotiation and the acquisition or disposal of municipal property.
Okay. I have a very brief report because nothing about this meeting has been brief tonight. You were brief. No, a few of you were brief. This guy here likes to talk about Porta Johns. We've the January 2024 fire report from Blairstown Hose Company #1. They had a lot of calls, 36 calls for service, 21 of them in Blairstown, 5 in Hardwick, 7 in Frelinghuysen, 1 in Knowlton, and 2 in Stillwater. 7 in Frelinghuysen because we did take over briefly Frelinghuysen's coverage for them until their fire department gets up to speed. And I hear by
pretty much right around now.
Yeah, hopefully.
March 1st or something.
Yeah, first week of March they should have their blessing and have their own fire department. I met most of the folks from their department, including their chief, and they seem pretty darn enthusiastic and ready to go.
Doing a nice job over there. They got the firehouse all fixed up. They got their trucks in there. Good luck to them.
Yep, I have nothing else, so I would like a motion for executive session 2024-40, resolution authorizing executive session
So moved.
for attorney advice.
Second.
Wait, hold. We have one from the public.
I haven't heard anything about the status of the digital sign.
Oh, our deputy mayor will address that right now. What's going on with the digital sign, Walter?
I just saw, Eric had sent me something. They're just working on, where do you put that? They're working on it was a text. They're just working on the scheduling of it to get it out, to get them out here. You know, the sign wasn't, they don't just take it out of a box. They built the sign once we told them to go. They've been working on it. It'll be up as soon as, it's kind of snowy out.
Yeah, you said at the end of last year.
Yeah, I missed it, darn it. Darn it.
The permitting's all done. We have the hookup approved and all, so we're.
I thought they were actually supposed to come before the snowstorm.
Oh, still, Eric's comment was still waiting on footings from the sign company.
Okay.
I don't know what that means exactly, but I think he wants the drawings or whatever.
The wheels are still turning. They're getting there. We promise.
Do you have any messages you want on the sign once it gets put up? What's your next event for the seniors?
Yeah, you want to give a little report for the senior committee?
We don't know how much money we're getting. How much are you allowing us?
We're going to give it all to recreation, so you're probably not going to have it. We have 800 kids in recreation. We don't have that many seniors.
He's kidding.
Just kidding.
He's
Just kidding.
kidding. All at home, he's
Just
kidding.
That was Walter Orcott. You know what, though? We are going to have a budget meeting coming up. Do you have the date for that? Because we have some budget, if you wanted to come to the budget meeting and
There's a
have
Saturday
budget-
morning meeting we're going to have.
Let's look it up. No, because we have one before that.
Lorraine, I would hope you're getting at least the same as last year. And I know we spoke about it with fuel costs and what buses cost these days. It has gone up. So the budget meeting's a really good time to talk about that. It's open to the public. And that's when you can come and kind of,
When is that?
Just looking at it.
they're finding it. And what they,
Could be March 10th, but I can certainly text you, but I know the budget, the finance committee has to meet on the 6th, so I know it's after March 6th. I don't think so. You have it in mind?
I thought it was the
Is that a Saturday?
yes.
and you know what
Probably
they,
the 9th, but could you check with Kristen before that?
you know what they say about the squeaky wheel?
Oh, no, I have it the 16th. It's the 16th at 9 a.m.
There was a reason. Right, there was a reason.
Yeah, so it's open to the public, 16th at 9 a.m. And our auditor will be there, and it's great to have the budget meeting with him because he can actually work things out one way or another. If we have to trade something from one line item to another one, it's real time. He can do the math for us and do it. Yeah.
Maybe, Lorraine, you can just submit a proposal on an amount that you're looking for, so it could be
Reviewed.
Yeah,
prior to
if you can
the
get some numbers from the bus company, so you have some hard numbers of what it's going to cost to do X number of trips, that would really be helpful.
And you should use your liaisons, which are Karen and Eric, are the senior liaisons. So you should use them.
Senior
to
and
filter.
solid waste. Okay, we have a motion and a second to enter executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. So, yes, we have a motion come out of executive
So moved.
session. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi, welcome back, folks. The executive session was for contracts, negotiation, no action being taken tonight at this time. Do we have
Mayor, will you
a?
entertain a motion for adjournment?
I'll entertain that motion, yes. Let
So
me
moved.
think about it. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.